In this week's weekly video fishing forecast, I have the details on the Riverview Bass Tournament coming up on Election Day. I have the results of the last weekend's South Shore Classic and our correspondents check in from around the island, all here at thefisherman.com.
The fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
Today is November 3rd, and I'm at the View Restaurant in Oakdale, where next week on Election Day, the biggest bass tournament of the year will be held, benefiting Syndicate Fishing Fund. The registration is Monday the 7th at the View Restaurant in Oakdale at 6 p.m. I will be here for the weigh-in and the awards ceremony and the dinner. This is a great event with thousands in prizes and for a good cause. Click on the card in the top right for more information. And the November glossy issue of the Fisherman magazine is out now. Check out Vinny Calabrio's article to get some great tips on fishing bucktails. And as we get closer to the freshwater season, again, Mark Sadati has some great info on what lures to use to target trout. And for tips on tog, Tony Salerno shares some of his great knowledge targeting these tough bottom dwellers. This week's digital edition is out now also, and New England editor Dave Anderson has a great read on swim shads. Remember, $29.95 gets you 12 glossy print issues and all the weekly digital content, plus full access to the website too. Plus, best of all, you can compete in our Dreamboat and Coastal Kayak Clash contest. Last weekend was the Fred Golofaro Memorial South Shore Fishing Classic, and here are the results. For the Striper Slot Division, Frank Mercurio took first place with a 15.5 pounder. Second place was Michael Roberto with a 14.8 pounder. Third place went to Henry Montagundi with a 14.62. For the Catch and Release Striper Division, Ruben Fortner placed first with a 45-incher. Nelson Felix grabbed second with a 43-incher, and Jennifer Felix took third with her 40-inch striper. No bluefish were submitted during the contest either. Great job to all the winners, and thanks to participants, Capt, Bait and Tackle, and State Parks for making this a great event possible. We're looking forward to it again next year. Don't forget, this video is available as a podcast on iTunes and Google Podcasts. Search for the Fisherman Magazine podcast and subscribe so you can listen to this broadcast. Let's head over to the map and I'll give you the rundown of what's going on. To the west, bass action saw its ups and downs depending on whether you are east or west. The eastern waters around Fire Island saw the bass action flip-flopping depending on whether it was the morning or afternoon bite. Anglers using jigs and surface poppers, live line bunker, and mojos during the day. At night, the live eels did the trick when the bass were hungry. To the west, the bass bite was consistent all week, especially on jigs. Party and charter boats were able to get their limit catches on many trips. Blackfish action continued their winning ways. The bay waters still provided plenty of action with good numbers of fish and a decent amount of keepers. Along the central South Shore, striper action continues to please anglers from the South Shore of Mauritius to Jones, with catches still red hot inside the local bays on topwater plugs and rubber shads. On the outside, bunker pods and sand eels have made for hot days on the jigs and live baits. For blackfish, I heard from a buddy who said that his trip on the Laurel Lee this past Tuesday was fantastic, with triggerfish, blackfish, and more species flying over the rail. Inside, the local beaches are still great options for blackfish, but you'll need to weed through the shorts to get some keepers. On the east end, Todd continued to lead the way. Good catches up to 10 pounds were reported from the end of the island last week around blockfishers and even locally at the point. Green crabs accounted for most of the action, but white crabs saw some play with the bigger fish. The striper bite continued to hold up in the rips off Montauk. Both white tackle fishermen and those trolling got into them. A lot of fish were in the slot, but some overs were in the mix too. I found some time to also go shallow for tog over the weekend on my skiff out east and put together a nice limit of fish to 5 pounds inside Peconic Bay using jigs and green crabs. It took some work, but we got them going, and once we did, the bite was on. I also came across a good amount of stripers feeding just west of Bugs Light, and that responded well to snap jigging small bucktails. The fish are from 20 to 27 inches. Along the North Shore, it's all about the blackfish these days in the shallows, and they're still moving out a little deeper into the 30-foot range. For those who haven't had enough of their porgy and sea bass fishing, there's quite a few around, but they're starting to thin out a little as well. As for the bass and bluefish, you can find them in just about every bay and harbor, feeding ferociously on the bunker that remain in the sheltered areas. Most of this bass and bluefish action took place in the harbors from about mid-island going back to the west. Some of the blues have been up to 18 pounds. News 12, meteorologist Rich Van Ohlen has been on the big fish all week. Let's see how the weekend conditions are looking. Rich.
Hey, thanks, Matt. Let's check that weekend forecast and see what we got going on. You can always check your favorite apps, websites, weather tools, whatever you got. This is a general heads-up, general overview. On the upcoming weekend, across Long Island and the metro areas, temperatures, water temps, mostly in the 60s. It's been a very warm weather pattern we've seen the last several days. Wave heights Saturday look okay. It's more of a southwest chop coming in, 2 to 4s. You start to see some 4 to 8s and 8 to 12s offshore. Offshore system will be throwing back some of those rollers, those swells there, especially Sunday. So again, watch around the inlet. Seems like we've had this pattern for weeks and weeks on end with some of those swells coming into Fire Island, Jones Inlet, Mauritius, East Rockaway inlets. Just use common sense at times of low tide there, but the breakers coming in. You got a south breeze about 5 to 15. Looks like for both days, Saturday and Sunday, cloudy skies and maybe a few very light showers or spritzes, but doesn't look like anything too big. High tides North Shore for mid to late morning, early morning on the South Shore. Another warm weekend, 60s and 70s, Saturday and Sunday. Can probably fish in shorts there. Looks pretty good. Check that Guru, a little different look here, and there's Saturday. And, generally south-southwest. We don't see any big wind, maybe a little gusty in the afternoon. Talking maybe 3 to 4 feet. And some of the swells go up to 3 to 4, maybe 3 to 5 on Sunday, and still with that, general southwest, south-southwest, about 5 to 15. So weekend looks fishable, looks decent, very warm certainly. Just watch out for some of those swells. Be safe. Catch them up. Matt, back to you.
From Sag Harbor, we have Will and Andy.
Thanks, Matt. So out of Sag Harbor this week, we still have very good striped bass fishing, especially closer to Montauk. The sea bass fishing has been very solid. Some very nice jumbos being caught. The cod fisheries also picked up a little bit as the water's gotten colder. So that's been very strong too. Now Will's going to give you the offshore report.
On the offshore front, guys, season is starting to wind down, but it's still been super hot. We have tons of people still going out there for tuna, and yellowfin chunking has been super hot offshore. Sharking has still been pretty popular as well, and we have some swords being pulled from the canyon. So hopefully, that continues late into the season. Get out there, guys. Enjoy it while it lasts. Thanks, Matt.
From Shinnecock, let's check in with Mike Dean.
Thanks, Matt. Hey, everyone. Bass bite has definitely picked up here, which is really nice. After we hadn't seen a lot of bunker in the last week or so, that started to show up last weekend. Continues to show up. Saw some gannets off the beach today. The bay still has a lot of bait, adult-sized bunker, peanut bunker, spearing. On the ocean side of it, pretty good luck at sunset with bucktails. And I've just been kind of hopping around a lot of different beaches. The favorable tide, for me at least, has been just at the end of incoming, where there's still enough water in the troughs for the fish to get in there. The wind and some weeds have been a factor here and there, but overall the fishing has been pretty good. Back in the bay with all that bait, have heard of a couple of nice catches at night. Really, really slow retrieve on an SP minnow or a mag darter. Also at sunset back in the bay, pretty good chance of getting some smaller fish on a spook or a popper, which is a lot of fun on light tackle. Blackfish still going pretty good. Hampton Ladies had a couple of successful trips. People still getting some keepers, even though they have to get through a lot of shorts from the rocks of both Shinnecock and Mauritius Inlet. And other people working the wrecks and the reefs have had pretty good luck there. It's not my area, but I did go on a charter last week, Port of Call Charters in Huntington for blackfish, kind of an annual trip with the buddies. And luckily the weather window worked out for us. We were able to get out even though the wind was crazy, but great captain with a lot of local knowledge under his belt got us on a couple of spots that really produced when we kind of thought the trip was going to be a bit of a dud, and it was by no means a dud. So Port of Call Charters in Huntington, definitely worth booking those guys. Just awesome tog fishing over in the Western Sound. So as well over here, but it's a lot of fun over there. So, okay, until next week, get out there, catch a bunch of fish. We don't have a whole ton of time left to catch them, and but there's still some quality time in the full run left. So let us know how you do. Leave a comment below, and I'll talk to you next week. Back to you, Matt.
Let's take a quick break and get the latest on the Dreamboat and Coastal Kayak Clash.
Past Dreamboat winner Sam Dibner is truly showing his angling skills with yet another entry. This time with the first place sea bass weighing in at 5.74 pounds. Remember, past Dreamboat winners aren't eligible for the first place prize and will be swapped with the second place winner. Rob Carazano currently holds the second place position for total points and broke a tie this week with Garrett Weir because his largest fish entered, a bluefish weighing in at 15.4 pounds, is larger than Garrett's largest fish
of 10.86 pounds. Other notable entries this week was this tog weighed in by Benn Perry of Quaker Hill, Connecticut, with a 13.05 pound blackfish, placing him in second place for that category. Wow, the drama is reaching its highest level as we steam quickly to the finale of the 2023 Dreamboat Challenge. Dave tells me that there were no new entries in the Coastal Kayak Clash this week. Justin Oser is still in first, Bob Wagner in second, and Tom Howard in third. There's still time to fish for both contests. Make sure you're a subscriber to be part of the action.
From Northport, we have Mark McCowan from Cal Harbor Bait and Tackle.
I mean, this fishing season, it's just getting better and better. I'm out fishing in my t-shirt. It's just dynamic fishing. The water temp's only 68. And that means the fishing, they've been on the beach. Black fishing is just dynamite. Green crabs is a ticket for me. 3/4 ounce or 1 ounce jig fishing off the beach. Just find a pile of rocks and hit it. Man, once you get that juice flowing from the green crabs, you'll find the bite gets really strong. Try to hit it at the top of the incoming. Seems to be some of the best fishing you can absolutely imagine. And it's only a bike ride or a car ride away. Walk yourself. This is the North Shore. We have so many rocks in so many different areas. Find yourself one and just have an absolute blast. And while you're at it, maybe you could get on a boat, find some of these false albacore, because I haven't seen them from the beach, but I'm seeing plenty of striped bass still, and some big, absolutely slob-sized bass in the back of these harbors. They're not always on the bite, but they're totally there. If you're on a boat, you can see them in the electronics. Sometimes you have to play around. It might be a live eel, live bait presentation, and all of a sudden these lethargic fish are just on the line, and they're just a great fight. You can release them and go upon your way. Porgies, there's still so many porgies around. I can't believe it. Black fishing, like I said, go out on the boat too. It's just dynamite. Get out there, have a fantastic time. And as always, I bid you all peace and tight lines.
From the Fire Island area in Great South Bay, let's check in with Captain Lorenzetti.
Hey Matt, Fire Island report. Fishing is good. Blackfish and striped bass, excellent right now. Inside and offshore, along the beach, kind of picky. One day's good, one day's not so good. But I've been consistently good, have good catches inshore. In fact, actually this week I had a 45-pound fish inshore on a little tiny spot on a 6/0 circle hook, and a bunch of other fish. So, you know, fishing is excellent. When you can get there, like I said, this weekend, Friday looks wonderful, beautiful day. Saturday and Sunday a little bit on the windy side, so that could be a little bit tough. And we'll see what happens. But fishing's good. I expect there's still fish way up in Massachusetts. Got a lot more coming down, so we got weeks yet ahead of us over here on Fire Island. And the fishing should be excellent right through into December. That's it for this week, Matt. Take care.
With our fly and freshwater report, we have Paul McCain from River Bay Outfitters.
Hello, Matt. Well, here I am taking advantage of all this wonderful weather we've been having. Yesterday, I actually ran a shop trip. We went to over to Blindenberg Stump Pond, a bunch of us. It was absolutely gorgeous day. Everybody had fish. They were all perch, all on fly rod, not big, but so many of them. Everybody had smiles. We had a great time. We had a good lunch. It was terrific. I decided after being out there, I want to get out my kayak. I haven't used it much this year. So I decided to come out here with a good friend of mine, Mark, and we decided kayak fish the back bays around Orient Point and try to catch some stripers. We just got here. We've only been here for about 15, 20 minutes. I'm about to eat lunch. And if we catch fish, of course, I'll be sending you photographs. You can post them. But as far as the Shinnecock, fishing very well. Banner. A family went out. They came into the shop. They got some flies from me. Brand new people. Called up, sent me photographs. They were thrilled that they had such a good time. The two young boys both had fish. The father was happy to see them catch fish. It was a terrific day. That's what it's all about. Really getting out there, getting your young children, getting your wife out there, or your others, or your significant other, and really enjoying this outdoors. Long Island has amazing fishing, and right, there are so much opportunities, salt and fresh. And on Long Island, if you want, you can fish all year long. So, if you want to learn more about what our opportunities, stop in at the store. Give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to share all. There are no secret spots, by the way. But get out where you can. Winter's coming. I plan on fishing all winter long, but hopefully you will too. So until next week, tie lines, everybody.
From Sheepshead Bay, Chris Landry treks in. Chris.
Thanks, Matt. What another incredible week of fishing it's been as Rockaway and beyond proves itself to be one of the finest fisheries in the world. The striped bass population is healthy. There are bass and bait all over the place. From Breezy Point to Raritan, it's all about the peanut bunker. And from Breezy Point to Debs, it's all about the adult bunker. On Monday, we went down to Raritan and we got all the bass you could catch on top water. And that's not a spot burn because on Tuesday, we went back and got skunked. Nobody was hooking up. But on the way home in the lower bay outside of Staten Island, Verrazano Bridge area, we found some crazy feeds and got on them. Today, I went out with Bass Appeal and Mike Lee, and we had an epic day. We caught over 100 bass on Bass Appeal. We were using, I was using this top water plug, this Daiwa right here. This has caught over 100 fish in the last 3 days. Looks just like a bunker. It outfishes everything. Also, this canal bait for swim bait, look at that, just like a bunker, great tail action. And this is more of the size of the peanut bunker that are out there. Works great, no live bait needed. Doesn't quite look like a bunker, but has some great tail action. From Breezy Point to Debs, there's tons of adult bunker, but it's very hard to pull bass out of those bunker schools. They seem to be more active on the peanut bunker from Breezy Point down to Raritan. So get out there, get on them. Fall run is in full effect. Be safe out there. Tight lines, thank you, and back to you, Matt.
Captain Mike Centry has the latest from Staten Island.
Thanks, Tim and Matt. Hope all is well. Hey guys, Mike Centry here for Anglers of Legend Sport Fish and Boat Works. Well, let me give you guys some tips. I'm getting some phone calls here and there, some text messages. Quite often, people telling me they're hitting up this bunker schools or pods, whatever you want to call them, with birds feeding actively. There's striped bass jumping, chasing bait, chasing peanut bunker, and you're not hooking up. Well, I'm going to give you some tips right now. Make this short and sweet. Match the hatch, folks. It's very simple. Stop throwing these humongous plugs out there, these double hooked shafts that are like 9 inches long. Forget about that. If they are feeding on a small peanut bunker, school or pod, whatever you want to call them, match the hatch. It's that simple. Small split tails from Hoagie. This little guy here, I got hundreds of these because this stuff is deadly, okay? Now, if you want to get a little bit bigger bass, Pro Tail by Hoagie. They make exceptional products. These stuffs are dynamite. Another thing I see you guys doing when I'm on these charters, whether running my boat or another client's boat, you guys are using terminal tackle that's way too big, 30-pound, 40-pound fluorocarbon, 4 or 5 feet, which is good length. But man, 40-pound fluorocarbon, that's crazy. Drop it down, guys, 15 pounds. 15 pounds, that's all you need, fluorocarbon. Very important. Also, your terminal tackles. When you hook up your lures or your swim shads, don't be using these gargantuan terminals, tackle terminals that are like for, offshore fishing, for, bluefin and yellowfin. No, use a very small tactical angler clip or just direct tie and use a very small barrel swivel for your main line to your fluorocarbon. That's all you need. Match the hatch, be productive. There's no reason why you guys should be coming back home empty-handed without a single rod bending. So that's very important. The bass action is phenomenal. This is one of the best years I have seen in many, many, many years. Use small baits, match the hatch, get out there, enjoy yourself, guys. God bless. Stay tuned. Big things are going to happen in 2023. Back to you, Matt.
Lastly, we check in with Captain Ben Gilmour from Marina Pez Vela down in Costa Rica.
Hello there, guys, and welcome to Costa Rica. This is this week's fishing report here at the Marina Pez Vela in Capos. The Dorado mahi-mahi season is on fire right now, guys. November is our peak time for mahi-mahi. The great thing about it is the fishing is super close. Many days we catch these guys, 8-10 miles out, which is just a very quick run from the marina. So great fishing, nice and close. Further offshore, 20-25 miles, the water goes bluer and cleaner, and we've been finding some great blue marlin out there as well for the last week or two. A few striped marlin turned up as well, and there's a few sailfish, yellowfin tuna mixed in also. We're right at the end of the rainy season now. We'd expected another couple of weeks of rain, so until that rain clears up, the inshore bite has not been that great, but that should get better in a few weeks. Hope to see you guys down here in Costa Rica soon. This is Ben Gilmour, handing back to you.
Check out this video's description on YouTube for all the related links and index for specific reports. Please support our correspondents by visiting their websites and social media pages. When you're casting your ballot next week, please consider the candidate that will be best for our fishing community. Hope to see you right here next week at the View Restaurant for the Big Striped Bass Tournament.